I have no idea what you're talking about, WTF. But don't worry, I won't time you out. Oh, that looks weird, doesn't it? What do you guys think? Should I sign a contract that WTF is sending me? Seems risky. Age in the age of worry. At your age in the age of worry. Gotta get Huh. It's a bit hot in here. I'm gonna turn on my fan. Okay. How many games left? 1, 2, 3. 3 games left to look through. 5 games left to show. 2 I've already looked through. Okay. So this game was kind of weird. Playing Mike Baker. Wait, why does this look so weird? Has this looked like this the whole time? What the hell is going on? Is this what it's looked like? Huh. Weird. Whatever. Okay, Mike Baker. So, for like almost a full minute, I thought there was a 6-letter word in ABGRRU. And I just kept looking. And wasn't finding it. So then I decided that I was wrong. Burgar. Sad. It's Bulgar is what you're thinking of, like Bulgar. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I could play BRRR, but I'm not going to do that. I could play BRR, which I didn't really think about. I was just going to play Berg, and then I decided to change it to the R. So the thing about Berg is that it takes an H and an S. And so I decided that keeping the G instead of the two R's was worth it because to me, Burr took an S and a Y. And so last minute I changed my mind to play Burr for 12. The problem is Burr takes an O. And I did not even think about the O hook until Mike played it. So upon the realization that Burr took an O, I figured that my play was wrong. And that's probably true. So I wasn't very happy. Factor takes a Y. Yeah. Takes an OL. Yeah, factorial. So here I don't really have anything better to do than to play VAR for 24. At least it's defensive. Maybe I can draw WI for burrowing. And yeah, maybe I can just draw an I for factoring. So that was my plan. Then he played Emic. And that was no longer my plan. My plan was to draw very well and play Paraling for 72. So that was a good draw. Sorts of draws that WTF dreams of getting, but never gets. And Mike plays in. And so remember how earlier against Joel Horn, I missed a word? Well, I saw it here. I redeemed myself. They call me Josh the Redeemer. Know-how for 43. Way better than anything else. But no, I didn't actually redeem myself. I just saw it this time, which is not good. I should see it every time. E overlaps with ham. And to EE, I of course draw another bingo. And it plays quite nicely. So now I'm up 108 points. What's the worst that can happen? Y'all tell me what the worst thing that can happen here is. And then what's the second worst thing that can happen? I have strawberries, and I'll be eating them. So it's a triple-triple. Luckily, he did not triple-triple. He also luckily couldn't play Rabieses. Oh, they didn't actually put that in? I thought that Rabieses was in. They only added diabeteses. If you guys don't know about diabetes. Actually, it probably works in YouTube too. Hey, and YouTube is already on YouTube, so you guys can just click that really easily. So, yeah, what does that stand for, Slug Biker? So he played Seasonable and I said hold, and I was like, oh my god. How am I supposed to know if this is a word or not? Mike knows a shit ton of words. He's been around. Okay, well, that's what I figured. Okay, actually, I figured it out, Slug Biker. That's amazing. It's also JJB. JJB is at fault. Um, so he plays this, and I'm trying to think, like, how am I supposed to know if this is a word? So the first thing that one does is cracks their voice. The first thing that one does is you write down the alphagram, which is what I did here. I can't do this thing anymore. Hold on. I have to, like, focus myself. There, you can see it. So I wrote down the alphagram. It didn't look like... It didn't look horrendous. But it didn't look definitely valid. Either. So I wasn't sure. And then I was thinking about, okay, what about a word that would resemble seizable? That's a similar word. So I thought about seizable with a Z. And I was like, okay, well, in that rack, ABEILS-Z, I'm pretty sure sizable and seizable are both valid. I seem to remember that sizable is not the only word in that. And so that makes seizable likelier to be a word. However, I know that there are some seize words that don't go both ways. I don't know exactly which ones. I think this one. Yeah. So seizured with two S's is not valid. Oh, but it's not valid with this. Okay, so what the hell is wrong with me? I thought that seizured was valid with the Z. So it's possible that... Okay, so it's possible that they're all good. Yeah, it's possible they're all good. But I decided that this one probably went both ways, and I accepted. And it is a word. And it was a nice play. It was very important. Like, if I challenge seizable off the board, I'd probably just win instantly. Whereas if I challenge and I'm wrong, he might even have an advantage. Well, he probably definitely has an advantage on average, with both blanks being out and him only being down 20, and me having this rack. And so it's a very, very key, important moment. So here I just played K. Could actually play VAT. I didn't think about that. Just keep the nice scoring tiles. I was trying to figure out a way to set up Zinky. But the only way to do that is to play like... how can you even do that? LAC? LOC? Like, it's extremely difficult. So I abandoned the idea and just played K. Hey, Tiki Pebbles. That's the normal spelling of sizable, I would say, without the second E, but they're both valid. And Mike exchanged 5. So that was a good result. And then I drew a blank, so that was an even better result. And I saw that I could play a bingo and Collins, but so be it. It looks weird without the ETU? Interesting. Must be a West Coast thing. Just kidding, obviously. I was looking for 9s through the AR, couldn't find anything. Indeed, there is nothing. So yeah, my original idea was to play this, vet, with the new word fav. But I really didn't like keeping ITU. I could like duplicate any of those tiles, most likely the I, and there are a lot of vowels unseen. But maybe I should have done this anyway. I decided that this board was kind of like surprisingly not dead. Like some unlikely bingos can fit here. Bingos can fit to this R. Bingos can fit here. Bingos fit here with Emix. And so I can't really deal with all of those things. I can't spend, unless I have like specific letters, I can't spend all of my time trying to block every single marginal spot on the board. Yeah, no paralings. That one I was like certain that wasn't a word. So like if I draw an S, I can deal with Emix and pods. I can block this R somewhat naturally. And I can like it's not like these things won't ever get blocked. I just didn't feel like it made so much sense. And it made more sense for me to try and build my own rack and try and just play the finishing blow here. So instead of just vet, I decided to play a very weird play of 2E for a 9. Setting up another lane, ending in E for etui. And my thinking was I should be able to hit one of these spots at some point. Well, that's what I'm saying, WTF. In this position, I don't think I should be blocking anything, but I also don't think I should be keeping ITU blank and leaving myself open to just a really terrible draw. But yeah, you can exchange as well. That's definitely a good idea. But I never exchange. So I decided to play Tui and try and draw into a bingo of my own. I don't know if this makes much sense. But indeed, he actually had a bingo of legions. So he played that, and now he's up 3 points. And I didn't draw into a bingo, but I drew a nice scoring tile in the J. And I was able to play Jeep for 42 to retake the lead. But now it's a close game, and I'm keeping VOT blank. And the V, I mean, I know I can play like Fav and A-Row and whatever, but the V sucks without the E. And I mean, sucks with the E, sucks even more without it. So now Mike plays QI. And I have this rack. No, you're right. Like the exchange is probably quite good in that position, but I'd rather score something and do something. So yeah, here I didn't see Votary. That's a pretty good play. I think Votary is the correct play here. Yeah. So there's not like so much danger here if he like bingos. Still unlikely. I have the last S. Keeping it for Emix and pods is really good. What's specifically good about the Emix spot, as well as it blocking the pod spot, is that it actually doesn't open a triple triple. A lot of times when you have like a hidden seven letters where you can play something in this sort of position, it does have a drawback of opening a triple triple. But here it doesn't. But I played Sty, just trying to score points and outrun him, whatever he does. But I should really get rid of the V, I think, and play Votary. Here, what did he do? Here, Mike played Dice, 28. And he's played Dice setting up Zeneb and also the S, which I no longer have. And there's no B as well for Zeneb. So not really a big deal because now only the blank can go here. It's really the A hook that's going to be able to score stuff and maybe open this bottom lane here. And maybe even open this. But I decide to make another A setup of my own and play Vow. So I played Vow for 21, setting up a Vow with the V play. And now I'm just like hoping I can draw something balanced, and if he tries to open, I'll just bingo. But things are getting a little bit spicy because there's still a blank out, and my letters aren't all that good, and there's some good letters unseen. So if I don't manage to bingo, and like Mike manages to play something with pods and catch me with my pants down, I might actually lose. So I wasn't feeling all that secure. So yeah, I played two new 3-letter words in the same play. Fave and Aero. So yeah, instead of opting to set up a huge hook for a few more points, Mike decides to play Ant and set up this lane. And it's the moment of truth. Can I bingo here? If I can bingo here, I should win every game. But not actually every game. I'll show you guys how that might actually not have worked. Was Mike impressed? No, he's never impressed. So outfeast is a word, and I was very much like feeling really good as long as this was a word. And so I had to think about it for quite some time before I was like 100% sure that outfeast was a word. And indeed it is, and Mike even knew that. He held the play and then accepted it, even though it basically handed me the game. So here's how the game played out. He played Goldener for 61. I drew really well and played Ox for 52. And he went out with Up for 4. But I was thinking, even though like it was perfect timing that outfeast left 1 in the bag, it didn't empty the bag, because I could lose to an out bingo if I emptied the bag. What I was thinking, actually I might not lose to an out bingo. Let's see. Oh, there's only one A, is there? So, how do I actually might be ahead too much to lose to an out bingo. Like, what's the most he can even score? You know, I'll check it out. Yeah, that's actually, let's go to game analysis. But I won 516 to 436. Let's see. Oh, it is a bit blurry, isn't it? Let's see what the biggest threat is. Next door. Oh, Renegado. Okay, I could lose to that and El Dorado. I can lose to things ending in O. Let's say he has El Dorado. And it empties the bag. Yeah, I would then lose. But he needs to be scoring in like the 70s. Actually, no, like 10, 30. Yeah, he needs to be scoring in the 70s to be able to outscore me. Oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me interesting view. Professional streamer. But what I was actually worried about is if he just drops his X. Like, and I like draw something like this. Am I just losing? Like, he has bingos in 2 spots, and what's the most I can score? If I play Eld, oh, I win. Okay. So, I don't know, there might be some path to victory that involves El Dorado or Renegado. I think I lose here. Yeah. Okay, so it was actually possible for me to lose after Outfeast, but it required some extreme improbabilities. First, he has to have the X, and then he has to be drawing into very specific things. Oops. Like, I don't even know if this wins, because I don't know if he has anything here. Oh, what does he have? Oh, Earldom. Nice. So yeah, he needs to draw into El Dorado or like Solidago or something. I don't think this works because he doesn't have an axe play. But he does have Dialoger and Solidago, but I think I can just block. Oh, I can block both. Oh no, I can't. I can't do this. Wow. But I have this. Okay. Anyways. That didn't happen. But it could have. Hey Laser Town, how's it going? Alright. So that was game 14. And after game 14, I was 13-1. So this is after the morning games on day 2. Oh no. There was one more game. So I was 13-1 after this. And I should show you this view. Tweedledee versus Tweedledum. Okay. So in round 15, I was facing my 2023 Scrabble Players Championship final boss, Joey Malik. And this game was pretty bad. I opened with the bingo of Hinnied. And he said, oh, it's just like our first... It's just like what happened at Nationals. So if we go back to Nationals, and we look at the first game, I opened with Aniline. But when he mentioned this to me, I was thinking of this, of Novell, which is game 2, not game 1. And I realized that when I was speaking. But it's very hard to keep up with Joey's wit. And so when he said, this reminded me of his opening salvo in the finals, which was also bingo. I said, oh, but this one doesn't take an S. And I was confusing the fact that Novell... No, I said, oh, but I'm not going to put an S on this one. That's what I said. Because I was thinking of Novell. And I was thinking of Hinnied not taking an S. But Hinnied actually takes an S. So I realized when I said that that was actually like not... That was coffee housing what I said. By accident. Like I was by accident like trying to induce him into not thinking Hinnied took an S. So I should have been disqualified from the tournament then and there. And stripped of my national title out of my made-up Grandmaster title. But I wasn't. Lasertown, not all of us. Joey actually has the most annotated games of everyone. If we look at Random Racer's leaderboards. Games. Joey Malik, 3,613 games. Joshua Sokol, 2,400 games. Wow, I have exactly 2,400? No, that's awesome. It's confusing. But I'm not gonna get to 3613. Oh my god, WTF. What is that? So no, Lasertown, this is the amount of games that I have annotated. Sorry, let me be specific on what's going on here. These are the amount of games that have been posted online from tournaments. Or not just from tournaments, from anything, I think. So I have posted 2,400 analyzed games. Joey's posted 3613. So not everyone does this, but if you want to record your racks, that's okay. Basically, people that record their racks usually do it for posterity. Some of them do it to analyze their games, and others do it to analyze their games and post the games online. But there are lots of people that just analyze their games locally rather than um, show them to everybody, like I do and like Joey does. Um, but the way that I record my racks is I play through the game, and then when the game is over, I fill in my racks. And I started doing this because A, I don't want to waste time writing during the game, um, like unnecessarily, and I also don't want my opponents to see what I'm writing if it's important. So, like some people will write down things in like plain sight without trying to hide it, and you're actually allowed to look at that. It's kind of like bad etiquette, but if they're not trying to hide it, it's within the rules. Um, yeah, Scrabble ratings are different. Um, like the top ratings are like 2100 in Scrabble, as you can see here. Um, yeah, there are also people, yeah. So one of the things that people do, so this is what my score sheet looks like. Um, so I'm on the left here for this game, and I wrote down my racks, or not my racks, but the letters I left behind after my plays. And on the right, you see the tracking. This is what you do to record what letters have been played. Um, and yeah, there are people that they don't write down their racks, but they actually track the letters that they have. And then when they draw new tiles, they track those new tiles. So what WTF's explaining is him like reverse engineering that to figure out what rack they have, which is a huge, huge waste of time, especially considering someone could be misleading you or just wrong. So I open with Hinid, and he bingos with Nectary. And in this position, I got a little bit fancy. Normally, you'd want to play through this Y. It's like the biggest scoring spot on the board. But I didn't have anything good to do that. I could play TIYN or TYIN. Very uninspiring. Then I noticed this spot, X is a word. I can put an X here, and I can even move up the F column if I have an O or an A to make one or ain. But I didn't have an O or an A. So I thought about trying to draw one and trying to hit a play there. So the first thing I saw was playing ditch to the H. And the problem I saw with that play is that if I do draw an A or an O, I'm probably not going to be using one of my two N's. So that means for 2 turns in a row, I'll be keeping 2 N's. Most likely. Unless Joey plays in that spot and I draw an O and I play Onyx, which is like a backup plan, ONYX. Then I'd be happy to have the 2 N's because I'd be leaving another one behind. So then I thought about indict, and I can play indict with the second I or the first I as the I can play this I as the first I or the second I. And for some reason, I was leaning towards playing Indict, like, with the first eye here. And setting up this huge lane. And actually, the engine thinks that either play of Indict is like fine. They're both like the same. And that they're slightly better than Ditch. And then I also considered just playing Nixt straight away to the ED and just keeping CDNT and hoping that like I draw an E and I'm able to score really well or even bingo on my next turn. Those are the things I was considering. But unfortunately, I ended up playing Ditch, which is not the right play. And what I overlooked is that, yes, the N, I thought about like keeping the two N's. But what I overlooked is that if I play Ox or Axe here, or anything, like Wax, whatever, I'm setting up big overlaps for Joey. So I'm going to be scoring more than him, almost certainly, but not that much more than him. So I'd be just donating him a lot of points anyway to begin with. So, yeah, that's what I said, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so I should have played Indict. C, why are you thinking about the Z? I have an X. Oh, because he has those. Yeah, he can't play any of those. And sorry, Binac, I didn't respond to what you said. You're right. I should have played Hinnied with the D on the star. You're totally correct. I didn't think about it. So he plays Oye, and I draw an A, but I'm keeping NN, so I'm keeping BINNS. And it's not great. And he just gets the overlap of web. And yeah, here I decided to go super aggressive to Binac's Delight and play Knobs, setting up Snobs, and Knobs with the K, which is still out and lurking. With my second S, I felt like it was worth it to do this, but I should probably just have played Snob on the 3 row and just like chilled out, because when he has a K or an S, like my play loses so much value, and he has that pretty often. 5E, yeah, that makes sense, Kenji. Good thing I wasn't playing you. So yeah, he plays Induja. And when he played this, I was like, ah, shit. I have to remember what hooks this takes. Does it take an S? Does it take an L? And I remembered, like, pretty certainly that Induzia did not take an S. And I remembered that it probably took an L, but I wasn't sure enough of it. So here I can play Ling and Induziel for, oh, I can't count today, 48, and take out the spot, or I can bingo with Maltings. And in this position, bingoing with Maltings is clearly better, because it's 26 more points, and the spot isn't that humongous that I really need to care, because yeah, if he scores 40, 50, even 60 there, that's okay. I should be scoring 74. And here Joey did something pretty shocking. And he played Eon, hooking an E onto Induzia. And that I was like, what? What is this? And he was like, when I challenged it, he was like, Collins? And I was like, I should have just said phony. I don't know. I should have like responded, but I didn't. But yeah, this doesn't Like, I think someone maybe has played it before. That could be it. Maybe that was what confused him, but that was really weird. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not so worried anymore about the hooks because Joey thought this took an E. So will he even like play the L now? He might just not play the L even if he thought it was a word prior to putting the E on it because now he's just like, oh, I guess I don't know what I'm doing. And yeah, I drew egg, and I separated it immediately by playing wedge. And so I played this really weird move of wedge. Um, because I was fairly certain that wedger wasn't a word, and I felt like this had the best equity of all of my moves. I played with Winnied, and maybe he'd challenge Winnied, maybe he'd try wedger. Um, but yeah, I could have just played egged, and you guys would have loved that. At 5A, and yeah, he probably doesn't have a big play at A1, given he just played 3 1-point tiles. So I think egged is probably a better play. Joey plays Aeon. I don't know if this really is clearly the best play in the position, but he's acting like it is with this commentary. But this looks kind of not great. I don't know why he said I should have done the turn prior, but maybe it's not the right play this turn, but maybe it was the right play last turn. I don't know. And I drew the blank. Or sorry, I had the blank. I drew a bingo. And I actually really wanted to play Wedger this turn, but I figured he would challenge. So I looked for a while, and all I could find was earplugs. And yeah, here's where I should be playing Indugio. I should be putting the S because, or the L because I have a blank. So my likelihood of bingoing next turn is quite high. Whereas after playing Ling and Indugio instead of Maltings, my likelihood of bingoing isn't close to as high as it would be with keeping the blank. And it's a smaller point sacrifice, playing like LARP. So yeah, this was a clear mistake, and I wasn't going to challenge Induzio, but I also wasn't going to play it. So I could actually lose this game if he's able to score with that and then bingo. But then he played Koof, and I was very happy because now it's just not really lucrative to play the L hook. And yeah, okay, maybe he'll draw like lose or something, which is a lot of points, but it'll get rid of his like his S, so I don't really care. So here, I could also play the L hook again, but in this case, because I'm ahead by a lot, it's good to take out the triple triple. But I should definitely play. Yeah, I don't know what I should play out here actually. If I should keep the L just to score 30 with it, or if I should play here, if I should play with Induzio. The engine thinks I should play with Induzio. He played Vape, and I decided to play Fry because I missed Craft. I could play Craft through the R and set up a triple that doesn't allow for triple triple since the L blocks that triple in the middle. And that's exactly what I want to do in this position, score and create scoring spots so that I can just score every turn and he won't be able to outrun me. He played Irriters. He said the exact same thing to me, that he's missed this word before a lot. It's like, okay, cool story, bro. And here I actually wasn't like super secure in thinking I was going to win. I knew that I was like crushing, but I knew that, or it looked like I was going to lose a small percentage of the time, depending on what I did. I couldn't find anything that seemed to win like 100% of games. And the reason for that is this spot here next to the O of Lumiere. Joey could have Taj or Raj there, and that would score over 50 points, which should be okay. I should be able to withstand that because I have ways to score over multiple turns. However, there's also an F unseen, and the spot under maltings, just something like if or even re-if or like FOE, like these score a lot of points. And if I just draw like OOUI or something, and he has all of these things, it didn't feel like I was likely to withstand it all. Because, yeah, I can't, if I don't block one of the two spots now, I'm not going to really be able to productively block it the next turn because unless it's the J. But if it's the F spot, he's going to be able to score with the F anyway, and the scores are going to be such that I should probably not be able to afford to block. So that was my fear. I wasn't really calculating. I was looking at like, okay, he could score 53, and then he could score like 40 with if. And I'm up 22. So if I'm not able to just like score 25 for 3 moves in a row and then go out, then I'm not going to win. And it seemed like if I drew the bad stuff that I wouldn't be able to do that. So I wasn't really sure what to do. I considered playing Troke through the R. I considered playing Kiva through the I. And I considered playing Vakil through this I. And what Vakil did that I liked is that it blocked this F spot. So even if he gets the J play, I should be able to withstand if I draw like anything reasonable. The problem is by getting rid of both my scoring tiles, the V scoring 4 and the K scoring 5, if I don't draw any more scoring tiles, I could still lose. So it was kind of annoying. And I couldn't really find a solution that I was confident in. But I ended up playing Vakil, figuring this gave me my best chance. And the L is a scoring tile, yeah, with Indusial still. That's actually very true, and was not part of my assessment because I wasn't sure enough of it. So it's possible that something like Kiva or even Troke is a better play because of that. Good point by Neck. What's up, React? So he didn't have the J and he didn't have the F. And of course I drew the FJOO. Or the FJO. And so there was no problem to begin with. And yeah, I figured that this was a lazy endgame. It didn't look like this was the right play. And what was even sadder is that if he plays Wedger an hour, he's scoring 28. I was going to challenge, but I wasn't like super confident. So I was like, okay, maybe I should actually let Wedger go. But no. He knew it wasn't a word. I knew it wasn't a word. He played Roti, following in the food theme, and I went out with Boo. Are you scared? I won this game. This is a very ugly game. This is not well played. But it was worse played by my opponent, luckily. So that was round 15. And after round 15, I was 14-1. However, normally when you have 3 rounds to go in an 18-game tournament and you're 14-1, you should be feeling pretty secure. Maybe there's one person that can like very unlikely catch you, but usually you should be feeling pretty secure. Unfortunately, at this point, there are so many mics here. Oh my god. There it is. Mr. Thalen had only 3 losses. And Mr. Malik also had 4 losses. So with 3 games left, Joey was 3 games behind me, and Mike Thalen was 2 games behind me, which is not a very normal thing. Like, we were just leaving everyone else in the dust. If both were 3 games behind me, I would have been like, okay, I should win this. But with Thalen being 2 behind me, it was actually anyone's tournament. So let's take a look at round 16 of 18. After this ad break on Twitch. And man, these next 2 games were incredible. You guys aren't getting ads, you're subbed. Don't scare me. Don't hug me, I'm scared. Such good strawberries. You were gifted a sub and I was gifted a straub. Oh, that's the Collins definition. Indeed they are, React. Okay. Jeez, it took a long time to write my own name. So, if you are following along, you would know that, or you might know that. First day was 11 games. And because it was a 24-person group, there are 2 groups of 12 that were created that have a very similar average rating. And the first day you played everybody in your group. The second day, what they did is they took the top 8 players from each group, I think. Or the top 4 players from each group played each other. And everybody else played people, I think, also in their category. So it's sort of like a group Swiss, wherein you played people from the opposite group you hadn't played yet because they're in the opposite group that were doing similarly to you. So those games have just finished. The last 3 games involved repeat pairings. And in game 16, because I was in first place, I played the person in 4th place. Round 17, because I was in first place, I played the person in 3rd place. Around 18, I played the person in 2nd place. So it's sort of like a prince or princess of the hill, queen of the hill, and king of the hill, if you believe in that stupid hierarchy of playing cards. So, I was repeat against Wally, who was in 4th place here. What's up? How's it going? PB is led. And thank you, Muffo Tentacle. Subbing for 21 months. Nothing to say. It's like, those are the most legendary people who just sub. And they don't even need to say anything to you. I wish I could be one of those people. Yeah, thank you, Matthew. Hello, 5Crap. Welcome to round 16 of 18. So let's begin. Wally goes first and plays Dungy or Dungy. How would you guys pronounce this? And I believe I made a pretty pivotal mistake immediately. What would you guys do in this position? So there are 3 candidate options as far as I'm aware, without looking at them. There's Way for 24. There's OA for 26. And Whiny for 30. Now, originally I wanted to play Whiny, but it just didn't look quite right. I didn't know if it was a word. And so I figured, good one, PB. I figured that Away was similar enough, the EN being slightly better than the EA, that it was fine. And I realized that this was way less defensive. Gives back a lot more immediately. But that re-overlaps are a thing as well. But for 4 points, keeping the N instead of the A and the defense, I no longer believe that this is a reasonable alternative to Whiny. And I never even considered Way. And I don't know how good it is of a play because it seems so likely that the hook will be utilized. But maybe I'm bingoing more anyways. So it's better. But whenever I'm like unsure of a word, it really distracts me from my thought process. And that's when I make the most mistakes. Even though I will very rarely make a word mistake, like I'll rarely play a word that is like not valid. just the thought of being unsure of things will definitely just like stray me away from my normal ability to find candidate moves and choose the right one. Oh, and then there's Yeehaw, which is awesome. Wow. Now that's a cool play. Keeping IN for ING. Not terrible. It's probably not great because the I is just not great to keep so early when it's the first one. Oh, that's the play in TEL. Yeah, Texas English Lexicon. Yeah, whiny looks quite good. But I played away. And I think this is just too bad, too risky immediately. Lets him score with like anything. Yeah, that's a problem with it as well. I think the main benefit to Yeehaw is you're like reaching for the bingo in a way that like those bingos are not really going to get blocked all that often. So he played Kuna. I'm already in a little bit of an annoying position because I can't really score anything and I can't really leave anything fantastic. And yeah, it looked like the best I could do was Kino, but I actually would have preferred to play Alkene here. I just didn't see that. I only saw Akeen. Yeah, they just added Yeehaw, right? And I'm just not a fan of like AELN as a leave. It's just like, especially on this board, it could just be useless so easily. So yeah, I think I prefer this play. But there's something to be said about trying to race for the first bingo. But not as much as what Max says about it. The shade has been thrown. Wally plays Bam. And even though I draw an S, just have terrible letters. I just don't want to get stuck in like these sorts of positions where I'm racing for a bingo on a board that's not bingo friendly. And I won't be able to score in so many different occasions. So I prefer to just like, it's maybe an exploitative thing. I prefer to score more and not like go into fishing mode. But I do draw a lot of bingos, so it's probably fine. So yeah, here I thought about playing Ulan and Ulnai. And I decided I would go for Ulnai because there are lots of E's left. And 4 extra points is good. And I also had like a weird feeling. I don't know what it was. It sort of felt like Ulnai was better, but it normally might not be. I also considered playing Hall for 13. Yeah, name them strategy. That's what Matthew Tunnicliffe would ask you to do. Name them. So this would be a fun idea like last turn. But when you're already on turn 3 and you're setting up the first S, it's quite risky. And as it turns out, I am very glad I didn't play Hall. A ton of Cliff Notes, one of them. Damn, dude. Fuck. Oh, God. Sad. So, I played Ulnai, and Wally hit me with Exilers. Bingo that I gave him. Had I played Hall, he would have scored 130. Or something. So I'm down 100. And this is my rack. Or not. This is my rack. And I just felt like resigning. This was such a sad position. I can still win though. But I'm gonna need some luck. But this is what happened when you allow your opponents to just make easy, good plays with your plays. One of the only reasons I'm successful Scrabble player is that I don't usually do this. I don't usually make it easy for my opponents. When there's a decision between two plays that seem like similarly good, I'll always take the one that makes it harder for my opponent. Or often. Yeah, exactly, React. So I never even saw this move of Nisei. And I'm not like a huge fan of it, but I don't hate it. The problem with this play is it blocks like everything except this little square here, or rectangle. This is the choke point of the board now. Wow, very interesting order, Vinac. So this is the choke point of the board. If he's able to just deal with this area of the board is like pretty dead now. And he doesn't even need to like fully deal with it. He can just like overlap or underlap, and then the bingos are gonna suck. I know, Binac, I know. So here I just played this. To salute. And here's where the magic happened. It's more than one of them. Oh, God. So I have Wally's full rack. You might wonder how I have Wally's full rack. Or you might not. But in this position, Wally played a bingo. A knees. No, Kenji? I don't believe you're correct. So, Wally put an F here, a U here, B here, A here, an O here, an R here, and finally the J. You might be thinking, nice phony. Or you might be thinking, oh my fucking God. This is on my bucket list of words to play. And believe it or not, I was a good sport about this. I thought this was fucking awesome. I knew I was probably gonna lose, being down 180 after a few plays, but I was quite amused and amazed. Imagine Frabjous Lee. Oh my god. Frabjous Lee. Anyway, so the game is pretty much over, but I'm gonna fight. I play Aji. Or Ahi, depending on what this word means to you. Wally plays Vum, taking care of the D, and like I said, illustrating the choke point earlier. And here I had a decision to make. I drew into bingos, but only 2 of them played. Or, sorry, 3 of them played. But this one is clearly the worst one. Actually, I shouldn't say that. But I think it's true. I think it's between Sinopia here and Epinaus here. Now, to me, it seemed pretty clear that this was going to be more likely to keep the board open longer term. But after I played it, I sort of thought maybe not. What this does do is it slows Wally down in terms of scoring. Doesn't let him score easily on a triple word score. And it also creates immediately a lot of potential space to bingo back. It leaves this potential bingo lane open if there's no nice overlap or underlap. And it leaves the Aji spot open as well. It also allows for plays down through the AR to potentially open some more space. On the other hand, playing Epinaus leaves this spot open while creating a lot of easy scoring and maybe potential to play through the E. And so the question you really just have to ask yourself here is, I'm down 174. How do I leave as much possibility for the board to stay open as possible? And to me, it seemed like, I guess that could get into a scenario after Epinaus where he plays a defensive play and I score my way back within range and then manage to open the board somehow. But it seemed way more likely that after Sinopia, he wouldn't have a huge... If he didn't have like a huge counterattack or counterplay, like an underlap, which is really good for him, blocks a lot of stuff, then I would have more chances to come back. But I was also thinking about like maybe playing the word that gave up, that tried to lose by the least amount. And it looks like Sinopia does that too. Just by not giving back the easy triples. And the reason I was thinking about this is like I have a 2-game cushion, but amazingly, Michael Thelin had pretty good spread. I had good spread and so did he. So if I can manage to maintain my spread advantage, my likelihood of winning the tournament gets much higher, because even if I end up with the same record as the next contender, I will be winning the tournament because I have a better tiebreaker. So it seems somewhat important to not try and win this game at all costs and lose by and ended up losing by an incredibly high number of points. Nice by now. So I play Sinopia. He immediately plays through the AR with Garter, which, if I can just draw something right now, I'm actually back in the game. But I did not. And yeah, I don't have anything great here. So I decided to play QI. Everything really sucked here. I didn't want to play QI. It blocked so much stuff. It yeah, it kept okay, but like blocking this S like this is terrible. Even if I can like somewhat reopen with PSI stuff, maybe. I didn't want to play KD because that blocked even more stuff immediately, but I could maybe draw into a 9 and maybe draw into something like Trank, but there's only one end left or whatever to reopen, but probably not. So I don't know. Maybe KD is better, honestly, just for 9s and making it less likely that these two lanes are going to get interfered with. But I decided to try to go for a bingo one time. And Wally exchanges 3. So again, if I was drawing the right stuff, I would be right back in it. But for once in my life, I didn't draw the right stuff. So I thought about playing Pond. He just exchanged 3, which is very suspicious. He probably has a blank. I just hoped that he drew like 000 or some shit. I decided to play Watt and just keep everything open and keep the good leave again, rather than playing Pond and like keeping TT with 3 more T's to come and blocking the E and whatever. But I don't know. At this point, I felt pretty dead. And Wally had a great rack and played Starless, which I held, and then it's like, yeah, that's gotta be a word. Starless Sky. There's a word in those 8 letters. I wrote down the 8 letters, and I'm like, yeah, there's a word in there. And yeah, nice. WTF, you remember Ethiopian food names. And here, I couldn't find anything good, so I just played KD. Thought about maybe trying some phony, but yeah, couldn't find anything. Decided to just roll over and die. Or did I? Here, folks, is where I present to you a rare phenomenon, a rare occurrence of me being a very confident Scrabble player. Play? There's no L. Oh, oh! Ooh. Wow. That's nice. I like that. So, when I was a younger, sprier lad and was less perfectionist about my knowledge of Scrabble and of the words, I didn't care about phonying. I phonied all the time. I love to phony. But nowadays, as I've gotten older and more battle-hardened and more stubborn and more boring, I don't phony as much. But here I decided to phony. You want to hear 10 minutes? I was like, this feels right. It feels right. It feels like I'm going to get away with this. It feels like the right situation. This is exactly what Matthew Tunnicliffe taught me. This is exactly what Muffin Botanical taught me. In a situation where the only way your opponent can reasonably lose the game is if they challenge a word they're not 100% sure is invalid, that's when you should phony. So here I'm going down by 72 points if this is a word. And if he challenges and I bingo, the game is tied. I might even be ahead. So to him, it was a pretty easy decision to let this go and just score enough points where he's just reasonably confident that he can't lose. So he played Fetid, going up by 105. And you guys really think that, like, this phony that I played, Rototype, was the best play I made this game. You are wrong. That's not true at all, strategy. That is not true at all. I mean, it is true, but it's not true. I didn't get away with this word because I won nationals. I got away with this word because I'm good at Scrabble. There's a difference. So here I made probably the most Nigel-esque play I've made in quite some time. And that play was GI for 3. The problem with this play, emptying the bag, by the way. The problem with this play is that even if I get what I want, and I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want with this play, I'm not going to win the game. Unless he plays some absurd low-scoring word for no reason. But I decided that I was going to do it anyway, and I would save a lot of spread a lot of the time. Because this play is a fish. It is a block, but it is also a fish. It's blocking stuff like devotion. Whatever else he had, I don't even remember. Maybe that might even be it. But it is a very sneaky play. And I was hoping to draw an O or a blank, which is 3 out of 8 draws. And that draw would give me a very, very nice 98-point bingo. So let's just say I draw an O. Oh, okay. Well, you ruined it, Muffin Tentacle. The problem is, if he just plays something very safe, like COD for 25, and I play Real Logic, he'll win by 17. So it would take an absolutely abysmal play, which is just not going to happen, for him to lose this game. I guess more likely than not. The problem with if I draw the blank is he's pretty likely to play like Convo and just block me. But like even with this rack, like what could he possibly play? He could be worried about like an F column bingo. But all you would have to do to block that again is just play something like COD. So there just doesn't appear to be any way that I'm actually going to win with Real Logic. But it was fun. And it was a great play. I just made a good fucking play. That's all I have to say. And yeah, here while he played it safe, he played co-ed. I guess he could have also phonied, right? I played Cloche. He went out with Avo, which is really funny because when I was playing Cloche, I was like, oh, he has OV blank. I can't see a single word that plays on 1F. And then he played Avo, and I'm like, oh, yeah, nice. That's the only word that plays there. Yeah, one more point with Ova, which is funny. Anyways, a good win for Wally. He won 502 to 383. So, yeah, I didn't play this game particularly well. I do want to see what Quackle makes of some of my decisions. But it was a really cool game. It was a game for the ages. I actually feel bad about the phony because it ruined the board. And I know you guys will do this anyway, but like, no, wrong board. But if I'm just trying to if I post something and I'm like, look at this amazing play, one of you neurodivergents are going to like say, oh, and point to like some other part of the board and take away from the, normal reaction. And in this case, you have a clear target. It's like, oh, wow, Rototype. Instead of just like admiring Frabjous. So I feel bad for like creating, and I was even thinking about that before phoning. Like, oh man, I'm sort of ruining this board because of the neurodivergent reaction to this situation in the future. And that's what's called having empathy. The neurodivergence. I don't know what else to say. Yes. Oh, there's this new trend to like rename ADHD, which makes sense. But no, the thing about this 5 crab is that of course I'm neurodivergent. What I'm saying is that I was the one playing this game. If I wasn't playing this game, I probably would mention something about the phony rather than Frabjous. But because I was playing the game, and I do think I have empathy, or at least I act like I have empathy, I was thinking about the reaction. And I can gauge the reaction a lot better from knowing at firsthand what I would do, But yeah, let's see how bad this play is. Oh, Wangy. That's funny. Good morning again, Rebecca. I guess I didn't say hi to Peggy earlier, saying good evening, and Cran saying good morning. My question to strategy is: Do you think about my possible reactions to what you type? And was that one of those possible reactions? Just me laughing at you saying you should just try to play Wally like Joey Crafty. What does that even mean? Look, yeehaw. Winning the sim. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Yeehaw. Yeah, I'll find a position where yeehaw is the best play. I guess it's often the best play. Um, whiny. Yeah. Okay. So it's actually closer than I thought. No time to switch to Twitch, yeah. I didn't put enough thought into Anole. I don't even know if I even saw that. That is a good what's the word when you make a deal? What is it? It's a good see you, Sobrev. Compromise. Thank you, Muffin Tentacle. Good compromise between scoring as much as possible and leaving as good as possible. And thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, YouTube's a little bit delayed. You probably thought of that faster than the Twitch dude. So our next turn, 35%, 36%. So this is the problem. You're keeping a marginally better leave at the price of this. I need to put this on the screen. At the price of a marginally higher bingo chance in keeping AELN, you are increasing the STD dev. What could that be? That is the standard deviation. What that means is you are increasing entropy. Student developer. You're increasing the chaos. And I don't like to increase the chaos a lot of the time when I'm trying to win a game. I would rather just score and have the game fizzle out in a more manageable and likely controllable manner. Yes, we are lying. It's true. But when I choose to play Entropic Scrabble, I'm fully okay with it being a mistake. Here, it's like, oh, this might be the best play. But if it's close, I'd rather, in a position like this, I'd rather take extra points and not worry too much about this going badly. Yes, Carity Mail. It's based on opponent rating. Absolutely. If I'm playing, the lower my opponent rating, the lower the chances are that I want to create certain types of entropy. Like increase certain types, certain sorts. Like I'm okay opening a board and allowing like a bunch of possible ways for opponent to draw into a lot of bingos. as long as I have the options as well. But this is the sort of situation where I don't really want to put myself in a situation where good things might be slightly likelier to happen, but bad things are also much likelier to happen. And yes, that is definitely true. Good morning, a Monday morning. It is definitely true that against very low rated players, I don't want to give like easy X bomb spots. Although these aren't as bad as like these. Because no matter what, pretty much, unless it's like Vex or Vox or Vax or whatever, like the counterplay is going to exist. But it's still, you don't want to give your opponent easy stuff. That is definitely another consideration. So it's not just like the relative chaos of the board, it's also what sort of chaos is it? Is it like there's a bunch of scoring spots that they could just like hit in their sleep and not even have to think about? Or is it the sort of chaos of like, okay, I might draw into a bingo immediately, or I might draw 3 vowels and be like stuck making shit plays for like potentially the rest of the game more often than if I don't keep 4 1-point tiles. Okay. Now let's look at Ulnai. Well, it's a good thing I didn't play Ulna. And it's a good thing I didn't play Hall. But yeah, like look at Quackles just loves the aggression. And to be fair, like when I was playing this turn, I was like, Hall might be the best play. But I can't do it. Can't do it. We'll do it live. Yeah, that's actually the biggest problem with it, I would say, 5Crab. In terms of the way that I think about the game. I understand why you're saying that is the biggest problem, and like technically it is. But in terms of like understanding, in terms of trying to improve your play, I think the other one is tougher to like come to terms with. But I don't know. They're both huge problems. So, likes my play, sad. Alright, let's look at Anise, which is the chef's choice, the chef being strategy. It's not going to like it because it doesn't think about long-term board dynamics. But I get the idea of wanting to keep things open. Oh yeah, sorry, because I was making things too big. Yeah, it's saying Nisei, for the same reason that it doesn't think Anise is any good. It's like, yeah, the board is fine. But doesn't understand that Wally will, whenever he can, reasonably do it, he's just gonna fuck shit up. Don't curse on your annotated games, by the way. You're not allowed. Who in chat posts annotated games? And if you don't, what would make you do it? You have a slight backlog? Oh my god. I think a lot of people do. I mean, that's the thing, like, we're talking about, like, of course, for the most part, people want to watch the best. And people want to look at the best. But other players that are trying to improve, or trying to get into the game to begin with, probably want to see like what an average player plays like. Otherwise, it's like so daunting, right? So I think it's the same thing with streaming and with like posting your games. Okay. All right, one more game to look at. Oops. Oh wow. I look so blurred in this. Wait, let me see. There you go. I'm also very tired, apparently. Apparently. All right, so game 17. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like it's pretty useless. You're huge like props, like great point on Monday morning. It's pretty useless to like show top level play of something when it's not digestible or understandable to the layman and laywomen. So having good commentators is absolutely key. And I think Scrabble struggled with that for quite some time. Once we were no longer on ESPN, and like had like a production that was like allowing for very good commentary, and seeking it. We got complacent. We had like Robin and Conrad, and Conrad is capable of doing very good commentary, but it ended up being like him and Robin. It just ended up being too colorful, I would say. And I don't know what would have happened if it was like Conrad and someone else. I kind of imagine that it would have been a lot better. But there was also like the commentary from New Orleans this past January. It was Conrad with Matt, and there it was also too colorful. But it was not as important to be not colorful, because it was not like a super major live stream. But yeah, we really need people that know how to explain things and are tactful, and we have a few of those, which is great. But we need more. And yeah, it sort of bothers me when I look at annotated games that people post with like almost no commentary. And I'm also like a victim of that like complacent mentality. I just don't really have. I'm doing this on stream, so I'm explaining things on stream. There's so much that I would have to like redo to explain it all on the annotated game, so I kind of feel bad, but at least I'm actually talking about my moves in some forum. But there's also, look, I think Kenji, I feel like there's a there's a place for untactful commentary as long as it's overshadowed by tactfulness. Like I think having some just like, all right, let's have Kenji on for a game and just have him just like go off would be pretty entertaining. Um, but it just would have to be like a sideshow, I would say. I think Kenji is very good for the game if he's a sideshow. Like strategy is I always say this, like very similar to Hikaru in certain respects. And look how great Hikaru has been for chess, despite his potentially like negative personality traits. But no, look what people are saying, Kenji. Like, don't take this as I really think Scrabble can use you, but maybe not in the way that you want it to use you. And that can go for anyone. Hikaru was retired from chess, right? But then he came back. It's like the same thing. It's like, oh, I don't play professional chess anymore. I'm a streamer. Kenji's like, oh, I don't play Scrabble anymore. I'm a sideliner. Same thing. I wish you guys actually like had more of a more strategy in your lives. Strategy. Okay, so let's go first to this game. Yeah, Mewtwo game, yeah. That's true. It's definitely true. The problem is lack of tact requires so much more context than like tact. If you're tactful, like you could be a nobody and people will enjoy your commentary. If you're not, people are like, who the fuck is this? Why are they like, who do they think they are? They're not even playing. I don't know. I have no context for which to like assume this person knows what they're talking about and isn't just being a piece of shit and like ego tripping and shit. Strategy co-stream? Sure. Why the fuck not? We've had great times together on stream. So, round 17 of 18. We've got to get to the end of this road. Oh, the ads are going to start in 2 minutes. Do it for the last game. Yeah, but yeah, of course. But you like that's the thing. You require perspective. Like you tend to just forget that you're not everybody. You're not John Doe. Like, I could go and watch Lack of Tact in any sort of thing that I'm remotely interested in and get it because I'm really good at something and I know how that works. But, anyways. Yeah, I understand Binac. I understand what you're saying. Okay. I mean, ads are about to start, but like everybody in my chat is subscribed. If you're watching and the ads are going to impede you in a way that you want me to wait, let me know. And people on YouTube can just watch. Pretty ad free. Okay, so my opening rack here against Joey, for some reason, it took me a really long time to even see the play I made. And it's the same exact reason. Can you do those giant emotes on mobile? I have no idea. What's up, just joshing? The ads haven't even started. They're gonna start in like 30 seconds, in like, I guess a minute and a half. So the same thing, I was unsure of a word in this position, and it just sort of like clouded my judgment. So I saw Gurdy, G-U-R-D-Y, and I was like, oh, that's just not good without the S. Like, I was like, oh, Gerties is like a plural noun. Oh, there's the ads. And so, like, okay, I can't play that because it doesn't look like a word. And so then I played Rigi, but it's really close. The reason it's really close is I use probably better than II, but the overlaps of Rigi are more annoying. So it's close. It's very close. Rebecca says, I can start a Twitch stream for mediocre Scrabbling. Yeah. The problem is, like, the elite are going to be like, oh, they're going to say things that are just, like, going to... Elite players are just going to, like, make you not want to stream anymore. It's worth a try. I mean, that was the case during the pandemic. Maybe it's not the same anymore. Is that a legitimate question, Kenji? Is that a serious question? I guess maybe you mean like nowadays? But are you not aware of like the absolutely insanely rough beginnings Heidi had streaming? She just is strong enough to like get out of it. She was getting completely like it was horrible. Anyways. But she stuck to it. Kudos to her. Got to know you now. We will never meet again. So yeah, here I played duo. I didn't even see Guru as an option. But they're close. I think Guru's more my style. And then I made just an inexplicable mistake in this position. I was like so out of it. Here I could just play DUIT for 7. And instead of that, I exchanged UIT. Like, what? Why? How? And DUI is probably even better than exchanging. I should have fished for Git. Yeah, this is like a totally stupid, horrible play. He plays off his U. And then I played VAT. And it's just not feeling great. Really not feeling great here. Unfortunately, Aquarist fits off the board. I don't think Joey even mentioned that, which is surprising. And here's where the magic happened. So he plays this board, and I have the Satire rack. And so I'm looking like, okay, well, I guess I could play with QUAIS, but I don't really want to open those triple underlaps and stuff. And so I play Bestiary. And I hit my clock. And Joey says, "You've got to be kidding me." That was a really bad impression of what Joey sounds like. That was close? I don't think so. I don't think it was close at all. I think I did not do his voice justice. Good Joey voice? What? And he never says stuff like that. So I was like, what's going on? And he literally turned his rack. Oh, good. I already did the impression. Don't refund yourself. He turned his rack towards me, which he also never does. I'm like, bro, what is going on? And guess what his rack was? Now, normally, if you see this on cross tables, you see the same rack that was just played. It's because the play gets challenged off. That's normally why you would see this tiles on rack thing. But in this case, he actually had the exact same rack as me. And I mean, like, we've seen this before. We've seen it on stream. And this is the third time this has happened. Where opponents have the same exact rack at the same exact time. And it's so insane. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, of course, WTF. Figure it out. Or just, like, figure out how often it happened in the 10 million games. So he's like, I don't think stabbier is a word. And then he's like, I was like, oh, sorry for blocking you. And then he was like, I think this is one more point in classic Joey fashion. It's like, yeah, it's one more point, sure. And it might not be that bad because the R placement limits underlaps. But I was just like, wow, I can't believe this is going on. So here, I didn't know what to do. I thought about Theorbo with both blanks out. I didn't like the lone L as a leave, and I didn't like leaving the 15 row open. So I thought about hotel, which blocked like pretty much all the triples. And then I counted up Holt, and I was like, okay, that's a lot of points. I guess I'll just play that. So I played Holt for 38. That seems best. And Joey drew poorly and exchanged. He exchanged all 7. And I'm in pretty good shape now because I get another turn and I'm ahead. And there's a star play here that I completely missed. And as a result, I blew the game in one move. Just a one move blunder. And I looked for like 2 minutes for this play. I just could not find it. Nice find, Peavy's led. Just aerobe. And it's not like it's like so much better than what I did. But it's a very, very large mistake in the scheme of things. And it's just like I need to play more tiles. I need to score more points. The G isn't that bad because they're eyes out and ends out. And yeah, I thought about Greece as well. And for some reason, I just preferred to take out the triple. I don't know that Greece is better. I know it's similar at least. And it was sort of something like my thought process, something along the lines of like, well, if I play Greece, that's admitting there isn't a better play than Brie onto the triple. And I still wasn't ready to admit to myself that there wasn't a play that I was missing. So yeah, here he plays oneself. Nice find. I always miss those words. And okay, the game isn't over at all. Like, still doing fine. But I'm gonna need a little bit of help. So I could play EEEW. But I decided to just play Woe. Which seems pretty good. Like, I'm keeping AEGN. Like, I could bingo with an ING word or whatever. Like, maybe I can draw something to the E in bestiary. Or just score my way back into the game if he has a bad rack. But he didn't have a bad rack, and he played except for 89. And I was like, oh my god. Okay. And then I drew into Collins bingo, which hurt my feelings. Yeah, I asked him about it. He's like, no, it's more defensive. And he's right. He shouldn't allow IER stuff. But I wasn't going to challenge LOC. There were a lot of things I was going to challenge, though, that were new words. So now the game is pretty much over. I'm down 100. He scores another 43. Somehow gives me a spot for denoting because I'm still the luck box that I am. Then he plays Jot. And I mean, I can't win this game, but I played Volnd. And maybe I should play Evulse. But then he probably just blocks the E somehow or plays through it. And even if I draw a ZED play, which I'm not really drawing much because I'm playing off both my E's, I'm going to lose. So I played Volnd. He played Hog. I had Lauween, know how to play it. Don't really know what the best play is here, but it was pretty important to be precise because now I lost the last game, and so did Mike. So after this game, if Mike wins his game, both him and Joey are going to be only one game behind me. And if he loses, I'm going to play Joey again. And the spread is really important because it's close. So any spread I could get from this position was good. So I didn't really know how to best like maximize spread here. But I don't know if lawing is right. Like, it's awing, A-W-E-I-N-G, which I don't think that goes out as often as lawing. But yeah, none of these things like go out very, very well. What do I have to block? Binac. Yeah, that's a Colin. I saw that. Like, if the Z is in the bag, if the Z is in the bag, then he's bingoing through the V. Okay, Simonized. So if the R is in the bag, he's bingoing. That's reasonable. That's a reasonable reason to think about blocking the E, but it's all a math equation, right? So if 1 in 8, he's getting 60 more than he would normally get or something. Let's say that him bingoing out is 60 better than not. Then that's 8. That's 8 out of 60. Sorry. 1 out of an eighth of 60 is Jesus Christ, is 7.5. So that's a 7.5 point increase on average that he's getting. Oh, and visoring. Okay, so if the S is in the back, yeah. So that completely cancels that out. But even without visoring, a play that I would be making that blocks, like maybe it's wall, W-A-U-L. Play that I'd be making that blocks the E would have to not be 8 points worse in the other end games. And yeah, wall looks pretty good though. So maybe wall is fine. I'll probably go out a decent amount after that. But yeah, whaling doesn't allow za, but it allows azo. So I don't really know if that like really makes a different strategy. It makes a difference when the O is in the bag and the blank, or it makes a difference 1 out of 8 times. And again, it's the same sort of situation. So yeah, maybe whaling's a bit better. And then he played za, which I was like, intuitively, I'm like, okay, that's not even the best endgame because I had an outplay. And in the case of like, this is a complicated endgame. It's not simple. Like, even if I'm disallowing an easy za play 1 out of 8 times, maybe he's like, if the O is in the bag, which it was, he's better off blocking my outplay anyway than playing za. So whaling isn't better than lawing for that reason. Unless there's some sequence that allows him to play za next turn. And block me. So it's not so simple. Endgames are very difficult. Unwise allows better out in twos. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I go out in two way more often after unwise. Wherein it might be worth taking the 13-point sacrifice immediately. Anywho, I played lawing. he should block outer with some. There was some like. What did he tell me the best play was? IS or something. Is for 10. What Quackle said to do. I don't even know. It's very complicated. But I intuitively it felt like you could think about it and make a better play than Za. Sure, if you want. And it was really important. Like any spread he could get would make it likelier that he would win beating me next round or winning next round to begin with. And as it was, or as it were, after this game, he needed like if we were playing, he needed to beat me by like 48 or something. But imagine if that number was like 40. Like that's a significant difference. Maybe not that significant. But actually what ended up happening is Joey's spread was higher than Mike's, but Mike hadn't finished his game, and Mike won by like 13 points to surpass Joey in spread by like 8 points. So it was an insane, like, let me see if I can find this. Yeah, I can show you guys. I can show you guys what it looked like in round 17. So in round 16, I was up 317 points of spread over Joey and 217. Sorry, 207 over Mike. And, oh, Nisi, okay. Oh, okay, it is, okay. Yeah, it's a weird sequence, he told me, and I was trying to understand it. But after this game, Joey got to 1137. So he actually needed to win by 49 if he was playing me, but he wasn't playing me. Sorry, not 49. 45. Do I know math? Yeah, 45. But Mike won by 13 points to surpass Joey in spread by 9. So if Joey had made like a 10-point error in the end game by being lazy, he basically ruined so much of his chance to like then play me in the final round and just be in control of his destiny unless Mike won by more. So it was getting really, really tight and complicated. For me, I obviously just needed to win. Okay, so for him, it was 5 points to spread. So he would not have made it above Mike Thalen. But yeah, it was getting really, really crazy. And I ended up playing Mike in the final round. And Mike needed to win by 40 to tie with me and 41 to overtake me. But then Joey was playing Wally, and Joey's average game against Wally is probably enough that Mike really needed to get lucky against me most of the time. Not only to win, but also to win by enough that Joey wasn't going to overtake him. So it's very, very complicated. For me, I just needed to win, but even if I lost, I could lose. Potentially, I could lose by like less than 40 and still win as long as Joey didn't win or didn't win by like 50. So it's just a bit crazy. So let's take a look at what happened in the final game. Whoops. Or I just run out of steam completely. So I was second, which is an advantage for Mike. And this is his opening rack. What does one do with this rack? And this is a big debate. I would very quickly exchange IT. But a lot of top experts think playing off TI for 4 is better. And I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I think strategy also disagrees with that. A lot. Kravchuk thinks that. I think Quinn probably thinks that. Yeah, I want to name all of them, right? Anyone born before 1980? Yeah, that also works. So if you have the option to score 4 points and keep the same leave on the opening play, why wouldn't you do it? And the reason is you're constricting the board, and you're giving your opponent more shots at immediately bingoing by giving them 2 tiles to play through. But most importantly, you're allowing plays to be made that overlap and that don't give back the sorts of lanes you want to hit. So if, for example, I play like a 3-tile play, hooking it or overlapping it, well, suddenly all of your bingos are going to open a triple word score and score like in the 60s. So that's the theory. And your bingos are going to play less. And you're going to have way less 8s available. Whereas if you exchange and I make a play, I'm giving you floaters. But if you play 2 tiles and then I overlap and I don't give you any 8s, like your bingo chances are lower. So that's the theory. The theory is like, don't do this. So Mike played TI. I was like, yes. Yes. That's a moral victory, folks. But I was also like kind of worried because if he bingos and then bingos and like he's gonna win. So here I played Elf. I decided that I would do this and try and restrict as much as possible and keep MNOR, which is quite reasonable. If he does bingo, he's going to give me tons of floaters and probably a triple to play. Rolf is actually not that bad. And I should have put more thought into it as a play, I think. So the leave is a little bit more workable. And the only problem is this leaves the T and the R as floaters. And it allows S hook bingos that don't open triples. And it allows some overlaps as well. Overlap bingos that Elf doesn't allow. So Elf, I think, is a more thematic response than Rolf is. But it's tough. Like, not necessarily easy to discern these little differences. Good one, Fivecraft. That's a good idea. So he actually had like the nuts here. Yeah, rediscern. And what I mean by the nuts is he had a great rack that doesn't do any of the things that I said are supposed to happen after this opening. And he played Crating. And Crating, to me, I was going to put an S on this, which is a problem. I don't think it's even good in Collins. But, oh, if I had thought about it, I would have remembered discarding tracings, actually. No, yeah, I would not have. I would not have put an S on it, but I was actually thinking about it during the game, and I wasn't. If I just put the alphagram, like I know it's tracings and discarding. Like that's one of the few things in my card box. But anyways, I was nervous, as you can tell by my recollection of events. But luckily for me, I drew EN blank because it's me. It's a me. So here, the only bingo is non-crime, unless you want to open an absurd spot. I play non-crime. Well, punish for what, Zadjeka? I haven't made a mistake yet. He plays Arena. And I draw this lovely set of tiles. WTF, I only drew 17 out of 18 blanks. Which, like, I should be drawing 19 or 20. I should probably be drawing 20 blanks against this field. Maybe even more. But I only drew 17 out of 17 out of 36. Not out of 18. So here I could play over here, on the right. But there didn't seem to be anything like worthwhile to play here for this point sacrifice, so I just played How. Yeah, maybe I could draw U for XU or something. I also have Hex as the next move possibility. I could play Hex now. Oh, I should play Hex now. Oh, shit. Yeah, damn. Okay, I made a big mistake here. Wow. Yeah, I'm setting up How. Like, Jesus Christ. That's 42? Yeah, that's bad. I'm dealing with the problems he just opened, and I'm setting up How for 42. Okay, so that's a big mistake. For some reason, didn't recognize that. I don't think I even considered playing my X off. Damn. Okay. Now you can say never punished. So finally I play Hex. Ooh. Sahib, that's nice. Okay, you said it good. Mike ties the game up with dozen. And this was a very important decision. So I was feeling pretty confident that I was going to be okay this game, but there was, yeah, there's an important decision at hand. Boink. Never even considered Boink. Either I play Niqab for 18, or I play Oaks for 45. So 27 more points. But I'm opening this triple for potential big counterplay. And I'm keeping the Q and the B, and sort of just hoping that I can get QI down next turn. But it's not a great hope. Like, he could score super well overlapping and playing off an S for Haux, or even just with soaks. But I also saw that there are lots of U's out, but I also saw there are lots of I's out, and I already have QI here. So my Q wasn't going to be the death of me necessarily, but it's still just like so bad to keep it. But the advantage of Niqab is that I'm redrawing into a lot of plays here. I could redraw an A for Oaks. I can draw an E for like EA stuff. I could draw a lot of plays in the same spot. And at least I'm guaranteeing that I'm just dropping my Q and also playing a little bit of defense with Niqab. But this also creates annoying overlaps with all the I's left. And also with the U's left. It's just allowing him to dump a lot of tiles a lot of the time. So it was a very tough decision. I ended up playing Oaks and getting rid of my S, which is also something like, it's good to hold on to an S when you're trying just not to lose by like 40. Then he played Vagrant. That's true by now. And yeah, I drew triplicate I's, but he didn't block QI, so I'm still doing okay here. I can probably manage my rack. And then he played Mas. Uno Mas. No. He played Mose. And yeah, we both thought about Vamos. He asked me after the game if that was a word. And here comes decision number 2. And this one's arguably even more important. In this position, still all 4 U's are unseen. There's a blank out. There's some good letters out. And by far, my highest equity play seemed to be Boîte for 26. But this play has a lot of problems. Problem number 1 is triple triples. Problem number 2 is it doesn't address this part of the board at all, and I might not get a great opportunity to do so, depending on what I draw, and depending on how much he scores. I'm only up 24, but I can think about myself being up 64. And so that's why I put a lot of thought into playing Booty for 10 fewer points. And I'm trying to like think in my head, I'm like, okay, how can this 10-point sacrifice be worth it? Well, firstly, this decreases his bingo chances by a ton by blocking the DO and like, okay, the Z. And it really handles this part of the board for like the remainder of the game, not just next turn. after this play, there's really only like this area of the board that has a reasonable amount of life to it. There's still okay possibilities of like ATE, ITE words. So it's not like I'm just like killing the board. But I'm playing it a lot safer. I'm taking a 40-point lead on a board that is bereft of scoring opportunities. I'm just trying to hold on. But I don't know if I wanted to do that. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that. Do I want to win? If I want to win, I don't know. Like, it could be better to play Boîte if I want to win. And I think I do want to win. But yeah, Ebenite is another option for sure. The problem is it leaves this S hook and leaves this other stuff and keeps an I, which I don't want. So I ended up playing booty. And I started to get a little bit like tilted about what I had just done. Oh, I also have all of his leaves. Oops, he gave me all of his leaves. He had oh, whoops. This is what he had with this. With Dwelt, he had Rons. Okay, interesting. With Dozen, he had... I don't know what his last tile was. He had VR. With Vagrant, he had... OM or something? He had an M for sure. With MOS, he had AEEI. So that was the thing. What I had to consider in this position was, what sort of rack is he playing MOS with? And it was either a great rack or a terrible rack. It felt so polarized to me. Like, I thought about, yeah, maybe he has like all these vowels and this is the only way he can score points. And I also thought, okay, maybe he has another S and maybe even has a blank, maybe he has just good bingo tiles. So just regardless, I think the decision to play booty was like reliant on that sort of inference because like I'm blocking a lot of his outs with whichever of those two ranges he had. So I think he drew 7 vowels here. And he could have played Audi. He exchanged keeping AE. And then I had this rack. And I think I should have just played AA. But I played anti. And explanation I have for this play was just like, I had no idea what to do. I don't want really to keep an eye. There's still 4 eyes left. I thought about playing anti-R, but I also realized there are lots of vowels left, so I didn't want to keep only vowels. But I wanted to deal with the vagrants hook. And I also didn't want to allow like bingos through like this N. The A I didn't really mind. But I think I was also trying to draw some scoring tiles. And even though there are 4 U's out, there are also tons of scoring tiles. So the more tiles I can play, maybe the more I can get a scoring tile. Hey, what's up, Ruby? Long time no see. But yeah, I don't like this play at all. He can even still bingo underneath after this play with overlaps, I guess. But that's what I did. I was starting to get a little bit like worried. If I drew like all the shit, like, and he managed to bingo, I could certainly lose. I think I should have just played off AA. Yeah, I didn't write down his full leaves. That's my bad. So here he played Paya, which I was really happy to see, because it blocks the D-column lane, which is arguably the most dangerous spot on the board now, because, or not even arguably, even before this it might have been, because it opens like a whole new part of the board that was closed. But I drew more eyes, which I like instantly regretted not playing anti-R. So I drew 3 eyes. And here is where I don't know, I kind of lost my mind, I think. And I ended up playing rigid. And there's a big problem with this play, and I recognize the problem. Problem is the F hook on rigid, and he could very well have an F with Paya. And the blank. And if he manages to bingo after this play, he'll be up around the amount he needs to beat me by. And I'm keeping AI, which is not good. But he needs an F bingo. Like, but he could have it later too. Like, how am I blocking this frigid hook reasonably? Yeah, he shouldn't have many, but he could still have it. And I think he actually did. But the problem is there's no other play that's even like, that I could find that was even close to as good except Injury, which I just totally missed, which is way better. Okay. Wow, Injury is just so much better than Rigid. So I could have just easily lost the tournament on this move. Yeah, I realized about the saxophone thing. Wow. Okay, so this could have been a tournament losing mistake. It just totally missed Injury. But luckily for me, he was just 1 letter off. Not only of Jollof, but of just like F bingos. But he could play Joyful. I don't think so. So he ended up playing Je and trying to go for an F bingo, which is this is a great play. Trying to hit a frigid bingo next turn. But I, in classic me fashion, drew into this rack somehow. And then, yeah, very underwhelming fashion, just like ended the game pretty much on the spot with Redius. Sad. And I don't think he drew an F bingo. And yeah, he just couldn't find any way to like. It's crazy he doesn't have any better overlaps. He just played of and yeah, threw in the towel pretty much. I had this rack. I decided to play Spiv. I didn't really see a way that I could lose. Um, I thought I could maybe lose this position, but like I didn't see any way to lose less than just with Spiv. But it didn't seem very likely. He played EW, he's just trying to do something. Of course I drew the last E. And I played Begs. And that was enough to win the game, for sure. So he had blank E LORUU. And he played Ute. I played Looney. And he went out with Louvre, the French way, Louvre. I challenged for fun. Whoops. And that was the game. That is how I won the Swillens tournament. Yeah, I played this game really poorly. But I don't even want to analyze. I'm going to analyze off stream this last game, but it was really bad. So let's raid. Let's raid John. Whoops. Okay, guys. I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for watching this analysis. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want lessons. Yeah, I'm finally got my second Scrabble lessons student. And I think more are to come. Okay, bye.